Welcome back to For Your Heart and Home. My name is Dee Dee. Welcome into my kitchen. If you've been milling your own flour or you're just starting out and you want an easy, reliable dinner or lunch that the whole family loves, this one's for you. Hi friends, and welcome back to For Your Heart and Home. If you're new here, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome on in. This channel is all about scratch cooking, real ingredients, and simple meals that bring everyone to the table. Today we're making pepperoni pizza dough in the bread machine using freshly milled hard white wheat flour. The bread machine does all the mixing and kneading for us, and we'll finish it off with a classic pepperoni topping for an easy homemade pizza night. The recipe I'm using is the recipe that came with my bread machine for pizza dough. The only difference with this recipe that I got with my bread machine is that it calls for bread flour. As I stated before, I'm using freshly milled flour, so I'm going to show you how I make changes to the recipe to accommodate for the freshly milled flour. So to get started, I'm going to mill the flour I will need for this recipe. I'm going to mill 3 cups of hard white wheat. If you're new to using whole grains, you might be wondering why I'm using hard white wheat for pizza. Well, hard white wheat has a mild flavor and a strong protein structure, which makes it a great choice for pizza dough. It gives us a chewy crust without the heaviness that whole wheat sometimes has. Because it's freshly milled flour, it absorbs water differently, so we'll pay attention to the dough as it mixes to get the best texture. While my flour is milling, I'm going to add 1 cup of water to my bread pan, 3/4 of a teaspoon of honey, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, 1.5 teaspoons of oil, and I'm also going to be adding 3 tablespoons of vital wheat gluten. This will help with the protein structure, and so this will lead me to a more reliable dough. I tend to use a lot of vital wheat gluten for things like breads because this is going to give me the dough consistency that I'm looking for. Once my flour has milled, I'm going to add that to my bread pan, and then I'm going to add the yeast, which is about 1 3/4 teaspoons of dry active yeast. Now that all my ingredients are in my bread pan, I'm going to put that in my bread machine and get it going. This is the bread machine that I'm using. This is the Cuisinart convection model for bread machines, and it works pretty reliably for me, but as with all my other videos concerning bread machines, for the first 5 to 10 minutes, you want to watch your machine to make sure there is enough liquid or enough flour in the machine to pull this dough together. I caution you by saying you don't want to just put the ingredients in. Even if you have done your best to weigh everything perfectly, do not just put everything in your bread machine and walk away. The first 5 or 10 minutes are very critical. So you will see me right here making sure my dough is coming together. I will drizzle in a bit of water as necessary because freshly milled flour tend to need more water than conventionally milled flour. And so I will watch it, I will make sure my dough comes together, and once it does, I just let the machine do the rest of the work. It will continue to knead, it will rest, and it will give my dough the first proof it needs. Don't worry about memorizing this recipe. I will be sure to link it in the description box below, and I will also leave a screenshot at the end of the video for you to use. So set the bread machine to the dough cycle. For me, that is number 9, but whatever machine you're using, put it on the dough cycle, press start, Watch the machine for the first 5 or 10 minutes to make sure everything comes together, and then that's it. You just sit back and wait. The dough cycle will mix, knead, and give the dough its first rise, which is exactly what we want it to do. This machine allows you to multitask in your kitchen. We're all very busy, and so if we can have multiple things going at once in our kitchen, we can be far more efficient and we accomplish so much more. When the cycle finishes, the dough should look elastic and should be easy to work with, which is perfect for stretching out pizza crust. As you can see, while my dough was in my bread machine, I went ahead and I grated my cheese, so everything is ready to go. This is a great activity to do with children. My kids love to come in the kitchen to help me stretch the dough and also to put the pizzas together. So it's been about an hour and a half and now my dough is ready. So you're going to turn this out onto a lightly floured clean surface. For me, I'm just going to use my cast iron pans. So I'm just going to lightly grease them and get them ready for this dough. So I'm not going to be turning it out onto my countertop. I am making 2 medium-sized pizzas and then a personal-sized pizza. If you watch my channel, you know that my daughter doesn't like sauce on her pizza, so I always just make her a personal-sized pizza without the sauce. So I'm just going to stretch this dough out so that I have 2 nice-sized, medium-sized pizzas and then a personal-sized pizza for my daughter. This is enough dough to make a really large pizza or 2 medium-sized pizzas, whatever you want. Maybe you want to put a different topping on each pizza, so you divide it into 2. Whatever works for you and your family. So I'm using cast iron to do this. You can do this in 2 ways if you're using cast iron. You can go ahead and preheat your cast iron, then you can stretch out your pizza, put the dough on top of your cast iron and par bake it, then take it out of the oven, put the sauce and the toppings on and put it back into the oven. Or you can do what I'm doing and just start with a cold cast iron pan and put it all in the oven at once. For me, the least amount of steps I have to make, the better. So I'm just going to lightly grease my cast iron, stretch out the dough for it to fit my pan, put on my toppings, and then put it in the oven. What I like about homemade pizza is that you can do this ahead of time. So if you have an extra time on the weekend, you can have your bread machine go through and make you some dough, and you can stretch it out. You can also completely put your pizza together and then freeze it. I think this is great if you want to have homemade pizza throughout the week, but you don't necessarily have the time to put it together, but maybe you have some extra time on the weekends. Definitely you can do this and freeze it ahead of time. And this is a wonderful weeknight meal. You don't have to pick up the phone and calling for takeout. So while I'm putting my pizzas together, I am preheating my oven. You can put it at 450 to 475 degrees Fahrenheit. Once I have my pizzas assembled, I'm going to pop it in the oven, and you want to keep it in there until their crust is golden and the cheese is bubbly and lightly browned. This is all going to be to your liking and to your family's liking. The only caveat, the only caution I have is to let the pizza rest before you start slicing it, because you don't want your toppings sliding all over the place.
hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. Now the morning is the afternoon. We lay awake in bed. The laughs so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be, we're gonna be two hearts running wild. The moonlight, summer sky, it was the best we ever had. And we'll stay young forever. We'll never have regrets. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light.
And there you have it, guys. It is absolutely delicious. My family loves pizza night, and we only have takeout pizza maybe 4 times a year when the children ask for it for their birthday. But once a week at least, we have homemade pizza. And the thing about pizza is you can put whatever toppings you have on hand. You can use whatever cheese you want. You can use whatever toppings you like. We like to also use leftover chicken on our pizza, like a fried chicken or chicken tender. You can put peppers. You can put pretty much anything your heart desires. Pizza is so flexible, and so it's definitely one of our go-to staples in our house. This pizza dough is chewy, it's flavorful, and it's sturdy enough to hold all your favorite toppings while still being made entirely from freshly milled flour. So again, if this is something new to you, using whole grains, using freshly milled flour, do not be intimidated. I promise you this is something that you can do at home in your kitchen too. Pizza night does not have to mean takeout. With the help of your bread machine, you can have a wholesome, homemade meal on the table with very little effort. Thank you for spending time with me today here at For Your Heart and Home. If this video was an inspiration, if you learned something, if there's something that you can teach me when it comes to freshly milled flour or anything in the kitchen, I am open to. And this is a community I'm trying to build where we can learn from each other. So feel free to leave a comment down below of encouragement to me or questions that you might have, whether about pizza making or using freshly milled flour or anything else that your heart desires. Feel free to leave a comment down below. Please like, subscribe, and share this with your friends. I'll see you in the next video.